if I could get paid to think, I'd be rich.
Okay.
I love thinking, and I spend a lot of time thinking. At school, that would have been like, if you'd asked me what would you like to do as a living, I would have said, oh, I'd love to make YouTube videos. I'd love to be a YouTuber. Hablas español?
Oh, sí.
Gracias.
Gracias. How did you even obtain all this information?
I like to think of myself as a sponge.
A sponge. Please do check out Seamus Gorman and his videos. Today I am joined by a very special guest, and this guest is called Seamus Gorman.
Hello.
Hello, Seamus. You intrigue me.
Thank you. You intrigue me as well. A lot.
I just think because it's like whenever we talk, we kind of like get this natural just
synergy
of just sort of kind of like that kind of bizarre dry humour.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like strangely fascinated by you.
Expand on that.
I just sort of like. Where did I first meet you? Peaky Blinders, or was at an event?
It was, and I can tell you the exact event.
Tell me.
My memory is like I see it like a filing cabinet.
Yes.
And I just like sieve through it, and
like a multiverse.
and there we have it.
Okay.
So it was an event in November last year.
November
or maybe
last
October.
year.
It was around then.
Okay, so about 13 months ago.
13 months ago.
Yes.
And we're at an event for Bros. Do you remember the movie Bros?
Yes.
Yes.
What was, because Bros was the first
LGBT rom-com.
Okay.
And I don't know why we were there, but we were both invited.
Yes.
And we hung out that day.
We did.
Remember you were one of the most outgoing people I've ever come across. You just spoke to anyone and everyone.
Yes.
You were promoting your book.
The Memoir of a Volunteer.
The Memoir of a Volunteer.
Available still on Amazon.
Still available. Is there ever a time it won't be available?
It's like, I will pull the plug on it. You just don't know when.
Okay.
So it's like, if you want it, buy it now.
Okay.
Because it might not be available
So
forever.
it's a limited edition product.
A limited edition, yes.
Yeah.
It was quite good. I like every month I get an email coming through from like where it's being sold, saying how much I've earned in royalties. And
Probably lots. You're like you can't even work out how you've
I
made
know.
that much
I think
in
last
royalties.
month I earned 6p, and I was like, more money, more problems.
At least someone bought it though, right?
Someone.
Someone's out there getting inspired.
Someone
And
about
it's not about the money, it's about the
volunteering,
the
because that's what the book's
exactly.
about. Okay, so we're at the event for Bros now, because that was quite a special event. Because were you there for like when we were
the museum.
the museum?
Yeah.
What did you think that was? The first.
I think it was the
I need to
first
get-
LGBT museum, focus museum in the world.
In the world or the UK? It was.
One of the two.
Yes.
Definitely. I don't want to be quoted saying first in the world, but
No.
I have the feeling it was the first in the world.
It was very prestigious.
It was important, for sure. Yeah.
And then after that, we had that like party in the.
Yes. I think that's where we really bonded.
That was because the book had just launched.
It had. Yeah. I remember because you were talking about the book a lot.
That was it.
A drag queen came to the
Ophelia
party.
Payne.
You still know their name.
Dave the Bear.
Dave the Bear. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a really fun event, to be fair. And the thing I remember about it, and this doesn't happen often, but it was one of those events where, so the brand have a certain budget to put an event on, right?
Yes.
And what I remember is they just left. They left us there, and they said, "Yeah, we've still got like £200 on the budget left to spend. You guys can buy as many drinks as you want with that £200." And there were about 8 of us there, and we basically. They left this venue at like 11. I probably shouldn't be saying this because they definitely weren't allowed to do this. They'll never invite me to anything again. But I don't know if anyone will care. It's so long ago now, and they just left us with like £200 on a tab to spend, and we stayed there for like 2 hours.
I think it was actually $2.5 grand.
It wasn't that much because we did run the money out.
Oh, you did run. Okay,
yeah,
there was a limit on how many bottles of what I don't quite know the wine. Like, what's the fancy wine?
I can't remember.
Rosé. Lots of bottles of rosé.
Rosé.
We could go for that, or champagne.
We can say it was rosé.
It was rosé.
I wasn't drinking rosé.
What were you drinking?
It wasn't rosé, but I don't know. I don't drink anymore, actually. Fun fact.
Oh, okay.
So this was a year ago, but I did drink then. But
You did drink. You did drink then, and yes, I just remember talking to you. So it's quite good. You kind of had a fascination in me, and I had a fascination in you, because how did you sort of kind of like tell me about your YouTube or social media?
Good transition there. I like
a journey, because you just seem to make like these videos on YouTube for like that go on for like 3 or 5 hours.
I've never made a 3 or 5 hour video, but I appreciate that.
Did I exaggerate?
Well, actually, by the time this podcast comes out, maybe I will have a 3 or 5 hour video. You never know.
No,
so,
yes.
But we're recording this in November.
Yes,
so
November.
I don't think it's going to come out until the new year, is it? So,
No.
But,
spoiler.
Sorry, but so I guess that's important context. So I started making YouTube videos when I was in school.
Okay.
I had success basically from the age of 18 on YouTube. So I never went to university.
You didn't?
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something I regret, but it's not something like openly regret. But like, is it something I'm going to regret in the future? I don't know. But
do you ever think you missed out on not going to like? How
see,
old are
I
you
don't
now?
think so. In the sense of the university experience, I still pretty much had it because I just stayed with my friend Sam, who was at university.
Okay, shout out to Sam.
All the time. So I basically got the uni experience while making YouTube videos.
Yes.
In my friend's room. So I was around there a lot, and I still had fun. But I don't have a higher level education, I guess. But so I've been doing YouTube since I was 18, full time. And now I'm 25.
You're 25. Okay, so 7. That's
7 years.
7 years. And what was like the first videos you started kind of pulling out onto?
So I actually started by making Pixar theories. Are you familiar with Pixar, the company?
Pixar.
I can fill you in if you're not.
Enlighten myself and the audience.
So
members.
Pixar is a animation studio.
Okay.
And they are currently owned by Disney. And they pretty much, their movies have been distributed by Disney since they first came about.
Yes.
They made the first ever fully computer animated movie.
Okay.
Which is called Toy Story.
I love Toy. That was not that long ago.
1995.
1995.
So before our lifetime.
Yes, I was 1997.
You were 1997. I knew that. Yeah.
You're good.
But so yeah, I made a few theories revolving around their movies, specifically like Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Toy Story.
Yes.
And they just leaped to success. I leapt to success.
Leapt.
I'm still confused to their success, if I'm going to be honest with you, because it was a level of success these videos got that just I think the platform was very different back then. And, and I think once I had that first video's success, I saw this as a huge opportunity to do this thing that I would, at school, that would have been like, if you'd asked me, what would you like to do as a living? I would have said, oh, I'd love to make YouTube videos. I'd love to be a YouTuber.
Okay.
And I was given this opportunity to do it at 18 years old. And I was like, well, I'm going to do this then. And,
you did.
I did.
I love that. So with the interest in Pixar and like Disney and Toy Story, was that a passion you had that you then turned into a video? In terms of like your first videos?
I would say so. There's actually a funny thing. My dad used to say to me when I was had my like GCSEs on.
Yes.
I'd be talking about like movies and stuff, and he'd go, well, okay, and I'd have all this information about movies that he saw as useless in my head.
How did you even? I think even just jumping to how did you even obtain all this information?
I like to think of myself as a sponge.
A sponge.
But I think when I'm interested in something, I will just absorb information about it.
Okay.
So Toy Story in particular was something I could have just spouted out facts about like it was nothing.
Okay.
And my dad used to say to me, well, you're never going to have to do an exam on Toy Story, so maybe you should focus on
something
like maths.
Like Pythagoras theorem.
But funnily enough, well, I've never been examined on Toy Story, but I've definitely done a few Toy Story quizzes and got paid for them before. So you'd
actually be quite good, like a pub quiz or something.
Oh, pub quiz, yeah. But it's a very specific niche to have Toy Story come up in a pub quiz. But I'd be pretty confident if I.
But if it was like a Seamus Gorman tribute night.
Yes. Yeah.
And we kind of like did it. But saying that
questions revolving around me as well. I think I'd be good at those.
I think you'd be good. Yes, saying that might be like a conflict of interest if you answer the own questions about yourself.
You'd be surprised. I find when doing online content, because I've been sharing so much of myself online for so many years.
Okay.
There are some people that say things that I've said or things about me from when I was younger that I may have forgotten about now, that they now know about me that I don't know anymore, and I'm just, how do you know this about me?
That's interesting, because I take it with your audience, because you're YouTube. Is YouTube your biggest platform?
Yeah.
Just under 400,000.
Just under 400,000.
Or should we say just over 350,000?
Just under 400,000.
Just under. You're sort of nearly
395, I think.
395. I think probably with the success of this podcast, you'll be up to millions.
We'll see.
But have faith.
Okay.
So at the moment you're just under 400,000.
Yeah.
But I take it all of those, they didn't all come in one block. They sort of kind of
Yeah,
joined over your 7-year period.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I've definitely had phases of things doing well and it growing quickly, and also phases of it just being very steady.
Okay.
I don't actually mind the subscriber count staying steady as long as there's a group of people that are watching every video that I put out.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, it doesn't need to be massive growth. Like, it's fine. But,
yes. Yeah. Okay, I like that. So you kind of the passion, the interest in the films and kind of Pixar, and you were filling me in on about Pixar and the Disney company, and then from that you started to make the videos.
I did, yeah.
Around Pixar. But your videos, that's what I find so fascinating about you, because these videos are quite long and you're sort of like joining all the dots. Are these...
Yes, so this is definitely a more recent thing of mine. But so as I say, I'm doing theory videos. Yeah. And a big theory around Pixar is that there's a theory that the Pixar movies all exist in the same universe.
Okay.
And I guess it's become a little bit of a thing that I do now. I haven't done one in a while. Hopefully I've done one by the time this comes out. But,
yes.
I did it with the Pixar movies where I tried to literally connect them on a board.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so how can I prove these exist in the same universe?
So these are theories you had, or theories you'd sort of hear about?
These are big theories that are just colloquially known.
Within the fandom.
The fandom, exactly.
The fandom. Within the universe.
Maybe even the wider world know about the Pixar theory. That's a book as well.
The Pixar theory?
The Pixar theory book, yeah.
That.
So I thought, can I prove these exist in the same universe? And then since then, I've tried to do it with Disney. I've tried to do it with DreamWorks.
Yes.
Maybe I'll try another one soon. We'll see.
Okay.
I guess that is a thing I do, and I love making those like massive projects.
Okay.
As you say, hour-long videos.
An hour-long.
Connecting all the Disney movies. See if anyone actually sits and watches the whole thing. You would.
I do. I must say, I think it's quite a well-known fact. If I'm flying somewhere, I do.
Anytime Martin's flying, well, not anytime because you fly a lot, but often when Martin's flying somewhere, he'll say, "I've got a 3-hour flight. Can you send over 3 hours worth of your content for me to download and watch on the flight?" And I will do it. I'll do it.
I must say, yeah. Do you feel like flattered?
I do. That's very kind.
Yes.
And that's very nice.
Because with knowing the videos in kind of that depth,
it's a nice way to get to know me, I guess, as well. Especially if you've met me before, you kind of know who I am. That gives you a big insight into well, at least what I find funny, what I would see as entertainment, and it's an insight into my brain, maybe a little bit.
Insight to your brain, and that's what makes me so fascinated. So when you're doing like an hour-long video and you're connecting, I've seen the videos, and anyone who hasn't, please do check out Seamus Gorman and his videos. But you've got like a board,
yes,
and you've got pins,
yes,
and then you've got a string, and you connect.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain the rules?
Explain the rules.
Okay.
And then explain how you come up with that information. Like, do you watch?
It's a lot of research.
Yes.
So the rules of these videos, and I think these are my big passion project at the moment.
Yes.
Maybe in 2 years' time, if you asked me about this, I'd have zero interest in it. If you spoke to me 3 years ago, I'd have been talking about Disney sequels and the Tinkerbell movies.
Yes.
So
I love that series.
So but anyway, so I have red yarn, and basically the way it works is if there's a character from a movie that exists in another movie, that shows up in another movie, like a character, cameo, or Easter egg, then we can connect it with the red yarn to say they exist in the same universe.
Okay.
There's a little bit more like specific to the key of it, where you could have yellow yarn. It means it exists in a movie inside the universe. Blue yarn I've used once before, which means I think it means it's like exists in a parallel universe.
Okay.
So, you know, there's certain rules, but the main thing is we've got red yarn, and if two movies can be proven to exist in the same universe through the same character showing up in one movie and then in another movie,
yes,
then you can connect them together. And then while you may have Little Mermaid connecting to Aladdin, then... but they don't connect to Frozen, you could maybe connect Little Mermaid to Moana, which then connects to Frozen. I'm shocked that I don't remember what connected to what in that video anymore. But the point was you could basically connect things from Aladdin to like Frozen and stuff.
Yes.
Just through cameos and Easter eggs over the years. And I think in the end with the Disney video, not to spoil it entirely, is I think I got about 30 of them connected in the same universe.
30
like, and I
films.
was like, and I like rationalized it as well. I wasn't just saying, oh, this character appears, so therefore these are in the same universe. I was trying to like explain what the timeline of the universe was as well as it was going on. So, because some things don't really make sense. Like there's some movies at Disney movies where animals are just alive and talking in the place of humans.
Oh, I see.
And that's quite hard to explain. How does this exist in the same universe where humans are just like the normal world? Like
just like a generic, almost a plant pot appears.
So you've got to try and explain it and go, well, what if humans died out and then animals evolved and then they're living in this futuristic world, you know?
Yes.
And that's kind of a way of explaining around that, I would say.
I love that. And with those 30 connections, is that 30... I take it to get all that information. Do you watch the film once or multiple times, or how do you gain that information?
To start, you watch the films once. Then there's a lot of research. Now, so the first one I did it is with Pixar, and as we've covered, I've sponged Pixar information, and I've said this to a director of a Pixar movie before, that I think I know as many Pixar Easter eggs as anyone. Like I think I just know them in my head.
Okay,
like they're there. There's obviously some maybe I don't know. So there's a lot of Googling, and some of them are quite easy. Some of them are like, okay, so for example, with Disney, I like this one because I think it was a bit of a harder project for me.
Yes.
But so there's there's a Hercules TV show. Hercules TV show? I believe there's yes, there's a Hercules TV show. I was trying to think if it was an Aladdin TV show or a Hercules TV show.
I follow, yes,
There's a Hercules TV show that Aladdin, the character from the movie Aladdin, appears in. So therefore, Hercules and Aladdin completely exist in the same universe because they meet in a show.
So that's red yarn.
That's red yarn. That was the first one. And that's the starting point. And that's a really easy one. So you start with two like that. And then as you go on, you want to work out, like there's some that are harder to get in. So I will like maybe find a movie like Fox and the Hound, which is like from the 80s. And maybe I haven't connected it yet. And then I'm Googling Fox and the Hound Easter eggs, see what's coming up.
Yes.
See what someone may have said, oh, I found this Easter egg in Fox and the Hound 5 years ago, and they'll put it on a forum on the internet. And then you kind of go through it like that. The Wikipedia pages are your best friend as well for this, because they just cite stuff, and obviously you need to find the source, and I like to be able to prove it. I'm not using Wikipedia as my source, but
or someone like Reddit or something. Yeah, or someone could just throw up an idea.
I just like to prove it in the movie. So if I oftentimes Wikipedia will report, oh, there's this Easter egg in this movie, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and find. So then I go into the movie, try and find this Easter egg, and then sometimes I can't find it, which means someone's just made it up.
But that must be quite frustrating if you spend hours.
Oh, it can be, but you're looking for one-off things, and there's a lot of research required, and you kind of want to make a timeline from the start as well of where every movie would fit in the timeline as well.
Yes.
And then you start connecting stuff and working out how it works. And it's a lot of research. I would say it takes maybe a month. To just write.
And how many hours a day does that month?
It really depends, but I don't work a
9 to 5.
So there could be a day where I do 14, 15, 16 hours, and there could be another day where I will do 2 hours and procrastinate for the rest of the day. You know?
I see. And kind of when you are procrastinating, what does Seamus's mind go Is it you're trying to figure out that block, or are you sort of thinking about football?
I'd like to think I'm trying to work out that block, but I could be doing anything and anything. I pace a lot.
You pace?
I pace.
Is that kind of walking?
I just walk around my flat like all day.
I love that.
My housemate Vegard will tell you that he'll know I haven't left the flat all day, and he'll go, "How many steps have you done today?" And I'm like, just get my phone out. 20,000 steps.
20,000.
Just from pacing around. And I think that's me trying to clear my brain a little bit.
Yes.
And I love thinking about things. I think if I could get paid to think, I'd be rich.
Okay.
I love thinking, and I spend a lot of time thinking. Every video requires a lot of research and thinking.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of creativity behind it, and I think the more time I spend thinking about something, the more I'm enjoying it.
It kind of gives you enjoyment. It's almost kind of stimulating and sort of trying to solve the problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that kind of come up, and I take it with how your brain operates. If you're not doing anything, then that sort of is.
I'll still be thinking though.
You'd still be thinking, yes.
The only time I stop thinking is when I'm asleep, and even then I'm dreaming.
You're dreaming.
So there's something going on up there even when I'm asleep.
Okay, yes. Have you ever kind of like woken up, like when you were talking about the Easter eggs? Have you ever kind of like woken up at 2 or 3 in the morning and thought that's the connection?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yes.
I will have it's really annoying because you could have a whole day where you don't get anything done, and then you're lying in bed at 5 a.m. and...
Lying in bed at 5 a.m.? What time do you go to bed?
No, as in you can't sleep at 5 a.m. because you've woken up.
I follow. You've not stayed up until 5 a.m.
I have before,
wow.
but I think, but yeah, and you'll wake up at 5 a.m. and you'll be like, now I've had the biggest spur of energy and I just want to write.
Yes.
But no, at that moment, you should be asleep. Never-ending cycle of...
It might sound like it might cause some frustration. At times. No, I absolutely love that and kind of that whole process. And what I find fascinating with Easter eggs, and sort of when I've watched your videos, which I've done many times, I like Easter eggs. Are they like... I always wonder with like Easter eggs, is like when they were creating these films like in the 80s or the 90s, did they think in 2020 we'll do this film and we can connect it? We're saving this, we're going to put this Easter egg away for 40 years and we'll bring it out in 2020? Or
no, I think very unlikely, because it wouldn't be the same people working on it. The people making the movies now, some of them wouldn't have even been born when those films in the 80s came out, you know? People in the 80s...
probably weren't even born.
Yeah,
so
some people who are making the movies now probably weren't even born when those movies came out in the 80s. Like there'd be people that are in their 30s, even 40s now, that would be working on these movies, and so I think it'd be more like, for example, if I was making an animated movie, one of my favorite animated movies growing up obviously is Toy Story.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be quite fun? Even if I was making a regular movie, wouldn't even have to be animated. Wouldn't it be kind of fun if I just stuck a Buzz Lightyear toy in there?
Oh.
Like that's the kind of thing I would want to do if I was making a movie. You know, I'd like a real just Buzz Lightyear toy, and you just be blinking, you miss it, but someone will notice it.
It's like one frame.
Yeah, it just in the background.
Yes.
And then someone will notice that and go, oh, it's a Buzz Lightyear toy in there. And I think that's more what it is. It's more of a nod. It's not... There's no intention to connect to the movies. I don't think so, at least.
Okay.
That's why it's just a bit of fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, so for you...
So for me, it is completely a creative project of... Okay, yeah, I know these aren't meant to exist in the same universe. There's no intent. They aren't sitting down there and thinking we're going to make a cinematic universe where everything's connected.
And one day Seamus will come along and
he'll
point
prove
it.
it.
Yes.
Like no, I just think they're making movies having fun, and then I'm having my fun by trying to prove they all exist in the same universe.
I see. I follow. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So that's the universe and the multiverse.
The multiverse. Well, that's more complicated.
I'm not too familiar.
Everything exists in a multiverse.
And what's a multiverse? So a universe is like one world.
Yeah.
A multiverse is
infinite.
Or...
It's do you know the parallel universes theory?
Is that and that's like
So it basically implies that there could be an existence of an infinite parallel universes where an infinite version of yourselves could be doing an infinite amount of things. Yeah.
And that's even like as we're sat here in this room.
Which doesn't equate to anything as possible in the multiverse, because infinite doesn't mean everything. There's an infinite number of numbers between 2 and 3, but in between 2 and 3 you'll never find the number 4. You know. But movies are trying to explore the multiverse a lot recently.
Yes.
And I don't know how well it's going down with consumers. I think Marvel in particular has been doing a lot of multiversal stuff recently, and I think there's been a very obvious like decrease in interest in their movies recently. And I think, and I don't know, I think there's one of those things where yeah, but multiverses are interesting. I think I find it fascinating, but it's a very hard thing.
I find it fascinating that you find it fascinating.
It's a very hard thing to navigate, I would say. But, but there's probably an alternate universe that's exactly the same as ours.
As in real life.
Real life.
Now.
Right,
yes.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Because the universe is so wide and like
big and
like there's probably an alternate universe where we're recording this podcast right now, except after this sentence I say something different. And then the whole direction of the universe changes forever because I said a different thing after that.
So it's like if this podcast never happened.
Yeah, there's probably an alternate universe where you didn't invite me on this podcast. And then
that would make
right
me
now
sad.
I'm probably asleep.
Would you normally be asleep at this time of the day?
What's the time now? Is it 11?
It's about 11
Probably
o'clock.
Be up.
You'd probably be up, okay.
But I'd still probably be in bed.
Yes. Okay, so that's the multiverse. I'm just trying to comprehend.
It's very hard to comprehend because it's something that is not existing in we haven't discovered it to be true
yes
yet,
but in the YouTube within
in movies it can exist
in movies, and that can be connection like with fan films or
so
with,
so the
mass
way
production
the way I would say this works, especially with it's like it's kind of like it's hard to explain, but so have you saw Spider-Man
Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse, right? So did you remember in that movie there's lots of the same character?
Yes.
Like lots of Peter Parkers existing at the same time.
Yes.
And it's because they're all the same person, but they're from a different universe as each other. But then if you can create this like wormhole between the universes, then you can kind of, but again, this is something that doesn't exist in our world, but when you're making a big video like that, now this doesn't really happen in Disney movies because they don't really delve with the multiverse that much, but there's a TV show for kids where this girl has like an amulet where she can travel to other universes.
Okay.
And she visits a bunch of the princesses. So in my Disney video, I connected a bunch of them with like this blue alternate universe yarn because it was like, well, they exist through this multiversal portal that this girl created one time.
Yes.
So, but it's more of like okay, this isn't really a connection, but I'm going to put them in because it's a bit of fun.
It's a bit of fun. Okay, I follow. Yes, that all makes sense. And I take it kind of, as you've watched a lot of films to kind of create these videos, I know it's a tricky question, but kind of anyone like myself who hasn't watched too many films, would you have like a top 5 Seamus Gorman recommendations of like films to watch?
Okay.
Based on what you've seen.
Well, so I'm pretty much Toy Story diehard.
Okay.
Sorry, not the movie Die Hard. I meant I'm a diehard Toy Story fan.
You're a diehard.
Die Hard's a great movie. Sorry, that was just...
Is that a connection in the multiverse?
I don't think so.
Oh, but in Seamus Gorman?
Maybe.
Well,
I'd wait. Toy Story movies are my favourite.
Okay.
I would just give you 4 right there. But that would be...
Are there 4 Toy Story?
Yeah, there are 4 toys. And they're making a 5th one at the moment.
Okay.
So that could be 5 right there. Toy Story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But in that case, would it be Toy Story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? In your top 5 favourites?
Well, I haven't seen Toy Story 5, so it definitely isn't my 5th favourite movie of all time because that would be jumping the gun a little bit. But
would Toy Story 4 be actually your out of the Toy Stories, 1, 2, 3 and 4?
Yes, I would say watch them in order.
In order, and that is your personal choice of...
I don't really like picking a favorite Toy Story movie. This is a question that I get asked a very lot of times.
I thought I was trying to be original.
But I don't choose a favorite. I see Toy Story as like one just very big movie that's split into 4 parts.
Okay.
So, you don't need to pick a favorite part, It's like, if you like it. But if you want me to give you some other picks outside of that, I think Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc., yes.
And I love Monsters University as well.
Because that's Pixar.
That's also Pixar.
Pixar, yes.
And we could go all in on Pixar. I think The Incredibles is fantastic.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Well, I was in Barcelona recently.
Oh, lovely.
And I went around... I lied. I was in Valencia. And I went to the art gallery in Valencia.
¿Hablas español?
Oh, sí.
Oh, gracias.
Gracias. My Spanish not good.
You can say, no hablo español.
No hablo español?
Sí, that means I don't speak Spanish.
Ah, gracias. And with that, there was a whole Pixar expedition.
Okay.
But it was all in Spanish.
And obviously, no hablas español. So,
no español. No, it was like the time I watched Mario Kart in...
You mean Mario?
Mario Kart. Mario Kart. The new Mario Kart. Is it Mario Kart?
The movie's called the Mario movie, I think.
Is that the one with Luigi?
Yeah.
Green hat and...
There's also a game called Mario.
Oh, no, the movie.
The movie, yeah.
What's the movie called?
I think Mario.
Mario Bros or something like that.
The Mario Bros movie? I've just called it the Mario movie.
The Mario movie.
But maybe it does have a real name. The Super Mario movie? I don't know.
Yeah, something like...
It's something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
I think as long as you call it the Mario movie, people know what you're referring to.
It was like the Mario movie. I watched that in Danish.
I remember this, yeah.
And I don't speak Danish.
And I had no subtitles?
Sorry.
Subtitles?
No, they were in Danish too.
Awesome. I've been to see a few movies in foreign countries like that, but usually you can find an English screening. But there'll be an English screening and then they'll have like French subtitles or something. But,
okay.
That works too. I want to finish my movie picks though.
Sorry, I interrupted.
Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Avengers Infinity War I love.
How much do you love it?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Which is the episode 5 of the Star Wars movies, but it's the second Star Wars movie because they got a few prequels in there.
And the sequels.
They got a lot of everything. Yeah, those would be my picks. I don't know how many I listed there, but those movies I really like.
Those are your picks. Okay, I love that, and kind of like, I just love that, and kind of like moving on from that with kind of like you've kind of taken all of that, made it into YouTube videos, made it onto social media. What's kind of like your most memorable like your journey of social media when you were 18? Did you think you would be where you are now, in terms of like? On a podcast, I think
it's probably not this very specific thing.
Not this very.
It's hard to envision where I thought I would be or what I thought I was doing. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just very much taking it one day at a time.
You were just.
I was just having fun. Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I got an opportunity to do YouTube at 18 years old, and I was like, well, this may not last forever. So because there was definitely times where I was like, oh, this isn't actually going to be I genuinely thought doing YouTube for a living is not going to be sustainable.
So is YouTube your living?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yes.
But this is very niche creator lore. But in 2017, there was a big ad boycott on YouTube.
Oh.
And there was definitely a time there, and I'm sure a lot of creators fought it, and I fought it in 2017, where it was like, oh, are there ever going to be ads on the platform again? Like,
yes.
You were needing to get like millions of views just to make a decent living off YouTube for a time.
Oh, I see.
And there was a moment there where you're like, okay, maybe this isn't sustainable, but at least I enjoy it. And that was 9 months into my doing YouTube. So, and I was like, well, at least I had fun while I was doing it.
At least you had, yeah.
But then ads came back.
Yes.
Now there's loads of ads on YouTube. Some people say too many ads on YouTube.
Yes.
It feels like it's the safest as a platform it's ever been now.
Kind of safest of the platform. Okay, I follow with that, and kind of like through doing all of this, you get to attend a lot of events, or like screenings, or premieres, or things. Have you kind of done junkets where you've interviewed?
I have, yeah. I've done a couple with directors.
Okay.
First one I did was with the directors of Incredibles 2 back in
Yes.
2018.
So that was still quite about 2 or 3 years into your...
Yeah, quite early on.
Yes.
And that was a big one for me. I was really excited when I got that opportunity. It was my first time working with Disney, actually, funnily enough.
Okay.
And I met Brad Bird, who directed that. He also directed Ratatouille. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of that.
Have you watched it?
No. Should I watch it?
I think Ratatouille is fantastic.
Yes.
But I really don't know what your taste in movies is.
Shall I tell you the movies I've seen? So that's a good. The first time as an adult seeing a movie was the BFI, The Empire of Light.
Okay.
And I
haven't seen it. So
it's a great film, but I must.
Is it good? Tell me about it.
What I like. So when I watch films, I'm quite like a logical person, and I think that's what I find quite fascinating with you, and like how you're always thinking, like putting the dots in your videos, kind of bring it together. With myself, when I watch a film, it's like I'm quite a logical person. I'm like quite forward thinking. I find it hard, like a game like Dungeons and Dragons. I just find it hard to almost kind of relax and allow my brain to go into like a different universe, or like a different, almost like a parallel universe. So it's always like Martin's universe. So I find it quite hard to sort of take myself out of reality. So when I was watching The Empire of Light, it was filmed in Margate. So I'm like watching this film, and it's like that cafe, I've been there. Like, and that's what I found weird. It's like watching a film and then kind of connecting it into real life.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, I must say, I thought it was quite normal for everyone to kind of go to the cinemas with the world's media on a red carpet with Olivia Colman, and
of course, yeah.
It turns out it isn't.
It's not a normal person's Wednesday.
Not, or one's first time going to the cinema as an adult. So I saw that, and then I saw Bros, where I met you, and then I'm just trying to think from there. Willow. I don't know if
Willow's not a movie.
It's not a movie.
Well, there is a movie called I think so.
Willow.
I'm assuming you're referring to a Disney Plus TV show.
It was with Warwick Davis and everything.
Yeah.
Because I was at the cinema, and in front of me was Warwick Davis and his whole family, and it was just like, maybe not many. This is. It's like that pinch yourself moment. It's like, what am I? How am I here?
How are you here?
I think possibly my greatest film of all time was Cocaine Bear. I just love Cocaine Bear.
I mean, I haven't seen it. But,
you haven't seen it?
No. And I had no plans to.
It's just brilliant. So it's kind of like with those films. It's like,
it's based on a true story, isn't it?
It is. I was just trying to actually think. Where I was saying it's like I try and find real world connections to films. I'm not sure with Cocaine Bear what that is, but with Spider-Man Through the Multiverse, or
that's probably a lot to take in.
A lot to take in. I quite liked it. It was quite deep, but it's like the character, like the Spider-Man in the white outfit.
Oh, the Spot.
He
wasn't a Spider-Man, but
is he a baddie? Or?
He was a villain. Yeah,
he was a villain. Oh,
villain of the week.
Oh, villain. He was a bad boy.
Yeah, very bad boy.
Am I a bad boy?
Definitely.
I think you're a bad boy. But off topic. Sorry.
You okay?
I'm all good. Oh dear. I quite liked. Well, maybe I shouldn't have like something where I quite like the baddie or the villain, but it was like quite nice because he had like all the holes in his body.
He did, yeah.
And he said, no matter how much you try and fill all the holes, there will always kind of be like a void, or always be a hole. And I thought that was like...
Was that what you took from it?
I did. I
love that was your takeaway from the movie.
It was, I just thought that's quite deep. It's like how much you like try in life.
Yeah.
It might not always go to plan. So we kind of touched on your like social media.
I also just realised when I was talking about movies, I didn't actually go into my favourite director.
Oh, so it goes from favourite movies.
I didn't list any by him in my favourite. Well, because actually, and I was, as soon as you were talking about movies in like the real world, it started.
Yes.
My favourite director is actually Christopher Nolan, which is very boring.
I don't think I know. Tell me about Christopher Nolan.
So he's made a string of movies, a lot of movies,
Out of Red
a lot
Yarn?
of thinker movies as well.
Okay.
So if you like thinking.
I love thinking.
Then you'd probably like some of his famous movies like Inception, Interstellar.
Yes, I've heard of them, but not.
My favourite movie by him though is The Prestige.
The Prestige.
Which is I was thinking as you were saying it, I was like, well, that takes place in the real world in England in the 1800s.
Yes.
But then, there are elements of more, I guess, fantasy to it. But
Yes.
but it's a pretty real movie in the grand scheme of things.
Yes.
And he's made a lot of me. He made Oppenheimer this year, which you may have heard of.
I didn't see it. But should I see? Is that and Barbie?
I think Oppenheimer is definitely worth watching.
Yes.
But it is 3 hours long.
3 hours long.
And I prefer personally the likes of The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar. He's got his The Dark Knight, which is the Batman movies basically.
Yes.
And to be honest, any of his movies are very good though. You could watch his movie repertoire from the start to finish, and he's just a very good storyteller.
Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to pick up on that.
No.
Just sometimes a thought comes to mind. And I just have to
It's
say
thought.
it.
Yes, I noted it with some. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
But you can ask me your next question.
That's a good question. Yes, we've sort of kind of touched on the films and kind of the social media journey. So it's trying to find a follow-on from kind of like Christopher Nolan and kind of movies into the real life and kind of your take on the movies. I found it quite fascinating that you recently set up Letterboxd. But then they turned out there was lots of Seamus Gormans.
Yes, that's
already
true.
on Letterboxd.
And so, I went on. I wanted to make a Letterboxd account. A lot of my friends use Letterboxd, and so I set out to make an account. And I was firstly frustrated because @Seamus Gorman was taken.
Okay.
And now this has happened to me on other social medias because I'm not the only person with my name.
Yes.
There are other people with the same name as me, and that's fine. But the thing is, all the @Seamus Gorman's on Letterboxd and people that had all the obvious ats on there were using my profile picture and stuff. And to be fair, they weren't impersonating me in the sense of they weren't like pretending to actually be me. It was just people who wanted to put my opinions of movies onto Letterboxd.
Oh, so they'd watched your YouTube videos.
So they'd watched my videos where I'd reviewed stuff, and then they saw what I'd given these movies out of 10,
Yes.
10, given them a 5-star rating or whatever, and then put my reviews onto Letterboxd. There's some with over 100 reviews, and also some of them are very good. Like they get everything right.
You said they were quite accurate.
Quite accurate, yeah. But there are a few that like someone gave Monsters University like 4.5 stars. I was like, that's an atrocity. I would never give Monsters University 4.5 stars.
What would you give it?
5 stars.
5 stars. Okay.
But no, I was impressed by. I mean, I was impressed by the attention to detail, and it shows that people do care. But since then, I haven't actually used Letterboxd, unfortunately.
Okay, you sort of kind of created
I was like, okay, well, someone's doing it for me, so I don't need to.
you can kind of set back. No, I like that. You can kind of set back. So Letterboxd might not be on your kind of agenda or cards to do, but is there kind of anything big you're working on, or kind of like what would be like the dream? Start social media at 18, created all these like wonderful 3-hour-long videos, spent months of your time, and just kind of immersed yourself. Could you kind of like think of a way you'd like to package that up and kind of use that to kind of slingshot yourself or like your career, or what would you like to take forward?
It's a fantastic question.
I think it's maybe a good one to end on.
Yeah, I think so. I love doing YouTube. I love the creative control behind it. I think that if like a lot of people will have ambitions to go onto TV and stuff, but for me, like that, I lose so much creative control over my work if I do that. And like for me right now, I could make a video myself.
Yeah,
it'll take. I obviously have help. But like I could theoretically make a video myself, start to end, and it would be exactly my vision.
Yes.
And like that would be what I wanted to put out there. Now you can get people to help, and you can still execute that vision with people helping along the way. I've never worked with a team bigger than 3 people.
Okay.
And one of those being me.
Okay.
So
oops, I shouldn't do that. 2 people. Yes.
So I've and the second person was literally writing a musical number for a video, so it was barely actually. But like that's the max I've hit. So like directing a whole team, it feels like a very ambitious thing that may be out of my realm. But I think I would love to, and it's something I've actually wanted to do probably for 7-8 years, would be, I would love to make a musical.
Oh, see, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I don't think you were, no.
What
But
would it be
or
about?
I don't know.
A Toy Story musical.
I don't think so. I think that already exists. I think that'd be something I'd love to do. Like, but I have no idea how or how I go about that. But
Yes.
it would definitely be like an ambition. I even think like making a sitcom would be something I'd be interested in doing. But those are very, like, they're ambitions, but it's also like I'd be very satisfied if I just got to do YouTube for every day for the rest of my life. If I was still doing YouTube at 70, then I'd be like, wow, I've done it.
I've lived the life.
I've lived the life. Exactly.
I like that. And I like that. It's sort of just staying, kind of just doing what you enjoy. And I take it, if there's kind of any youngsters or anyone watching this, I think you must have a lot of fans, just under 400,000 subscribers. Would you give them, what would be your message to them, kind of?
Thank you for supporting me.
Thank you for supporting. And if they wanted to go into YouTube or...
If they wanted to go into YouTube, I think there's probably never been a better time to get into making videos on social media. Like, that's not me saying, well, back in my day it was harder. But I think as much as there are more people trying to do it now than ever, I think if you actually have like a unique voice to bring to the
table,
to the marketplace of ideas,
to the internet streaming
platforms, and I do think, if you've got what it takes, and you've got like you're an interesting person, you've got interesting things to say, or you're just really funny, or like you've just got any of the qualities that are needed to be a success online. If you think you've got that, then you probably would be able to make it. Like there's just a few things you got to work out about working out the algorithms with YouTube and TikTok and whatever other platforms you want to grow on. But once you can crack the code on that, then you're set basically. If you have the ideas, just go for it. Yeah,
the universe and the multiverse is yours for the taking.
Yes, you could be the one who creates a portal to the multiverse, and that would be a great YouTube video if you could create a portal to the multiverse. I don't think people would believe it, to be honest. I think it would look like a special effects video. But
maybe I like that. So yes, well, I just love that. I think love is sort of the encapsulating word to kind of all of that bundled into one. I like that.
How often do you talk about yourself on your podcast?
Not often.
Has anyone asked you like about your story?
I once got asked. You see, I think I once got asked, I think I lost my childhood?
Oh,
which was quite.
What, let's unpack that. What does that mean?
In
like, what's that in reference to?
In reference, I think just sort of kind of a lot of time and effort I've kind of put into kind of projects and work. I think maybe that was...
How long have you been working for?
I started at 10.
Oh, what were you doing at 10?
Buying and selling radio-controlled model aircraft.
But that's still what you do now?
A little bit, of course. A little bit. I think it's...
And so you've been doing that since you were 10? How do you get into something like that at the age of 10?
Through my hobby when I was 7. So it was kind of like, 7.
And you were fully selling them? Like
fully selling.
Like, were you getting your parents to drive you around?
Yeah, my mum used to drive me around. My mum would drop me off at school and then pick up a cardboard box from Whole Foods so that I could then use to send out model aeroplanes. So I think that was one of the reasons.
So do you feel like you lost your childhood a little bit then?
Oh, that's the deep question. I think maybe that's where I could get connections with Spot and Spider-Verse. You sometimes regret and you sometimes got to avoid, but you just kind of got to go with it and move forward because...
Of course, yeah.
You
can never go back.
You can never go back. So I sort of kind of... That's why I find it quite interesting talking to the guests or kind of having people on, because it's kind of... I never felt like I kind of fully fitted into school or like with people, but now kind of surrounding myself with like people on the show that I kind of have on, it's quite not. It's like I've got that connection, and it's like I found my people.
Yeah, so that's nice.
That is nice, but that's a whole story for another another podcast.
Maybe you'll have to have like a Martin episode where you sit there and then you ask yourself questions while you're sat
maybe
here.
you could.
Do you think you could clone yourself?
Clone myself. Good too.
You could talk to yourself. Or you film it, and the way you do it, this is quite complicated, but you've got to film the whole episode sat there, and then you've got to film the whole episode asking the questions you asked there and timing it perfectly later sat here, and then you just like crop it down the middle so it looks like you filmed it talking to yourself, but in reality you filmed it completely separately.
I like that. I'll look into that.
I'll
look
into
in.
that.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then maybe we could call that like the Martin podcast.
The Martin podcast.
The Martin and Martin, or Eminem. Oh no, that name's already taken.
Yeah, it is. But if you spell it right, you could just look like a chocolate brand. You'll probably get sued though.
I like that. Okay. Well, thank you, Seamus.
Thank you so much for having me.
I've really enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed talking to you as well. I always enjoy talking to you.
Likewise.
Never a dull moment.
Never.
Are you not wearing matching socks?
I thought you wouldn't notice. But
You better show them on the camera.
I'm sorry, I'm not. I've got not matching socks, but we've got matching outfits.
We do. White and... Well, my trousers are kind of blue, but...
Mine are sort of black.
Sorry to say, but... Yeah.
But saying we've got white soles on our shoe.
Both wearing plim soles.
Yes, love that. On that note, thank you, Seamus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.
And best of luck with everything else today.